Welcome to the Found Her podcast.
We are two women who knew nothing about starting a business, but with our faith and a lot of determination, we founded our company that has grown to over 7 figures in just 3 years.
We're sharing all that we've learned, our secrets to building a brand and a long-lasting foundation to gain time and financial freedom.
We're both moms to 4 kiddos, and through the peaks and valleys of being a business owner, we're finding our true purpose, and it's more than we ever imagined.
So join us as we get real and have some fun along the way.
Welcome back.
Welcome.
Here we are, episode 7.
Stop winging it.
What's that even mean?
Well, I don't know. You gotta. You know what? We've said this a lot. Fake it till you make it. You gotta do that when you're starting a business. Okay, we're gonna get into it more. We're gonna talk about our weekends first. It's okay to say that. We're not faking it anymore. Let me be clear. But in the very beginning, you do not know what you are doing, but you are trying to build confidence with your clientele.
I think confidence in yourself.
And confidence in yourself.
I think more importantly, I think the clients sometimes have more confidence in you than you have in yourself.
Totally.
Or,
No, that's not a bad thing. No, I know. It's like, how was your weekend? So this was Super Bowl Sunday. That was super fun. And I was at a volleyball tournament all weekend. What else did I do? What did you do?
I spent the entire weekend at a car dealership. Ask me how fun that was. And children's
birthday parties?
And birthday parties.
Both sound equally awful.
Yeah, no. Left with no new car, but I went to 2. But that's okay.
Well, that's good. It's like a necessity of life. But no, I love watching volleyball. No, my girl plays club, and I love watching it. I love going. We were at Mohegan all weekend. Fun. And yeah, that's fun. I love watching her. Although early mornings, we're going to leave at like 5 every day, 5 a.m. So I don't love that part, but that's okay.
I like early mornings. Actually, fun early morning. I started my Sunday with, first of all, I thought I wanted to walk and then have coffee in the hot tub. That was my plan.
Oh,
dreamy. I know.
Sounds very dreamy.
But I woke up to meet my neighbor to go walking, and it was 5:45, and I looked outside.
A.M.?
It was the darkest of the dark I've ever seen, and I was like, I'm going to be eaten by animals. I'm not walking.
You won't walk in the dark? No. You live in a neighborhood with streetlights.
No, there's no streetlights on at 5:30.
You don't have streetlights?
No. We have one to my corner. That's it. No, I canned it. We pushed it back half hour. The sun was coming up at that point. I was better then. But it was so dark. I was like, there's no way.
No, I love it. I love walking in the dark.
You do not walk alone. You walk with your dog.
I mean, really, what is he going to do? He could be eaten by anything. But True. I love it because I don't want to see people, and I don't want people to see me. And I love that.
Can we talk about, you cut half yourself off?
What do you mean?
No. Just put me center of the camera. My white jacket. Turn sideways. Okay. All right.
Okay. So we're going to talk about, we have notes today. I'm really stepping up our game here.
We're going to stay on track.
So we're going to go back way to the beginning. So we're going to talk a little bit today about what we did before our first hire. So now we've been in this a few years, and we've got a team of 10, but we did this for 2 years with a team of 1 and 2 right here. So how did we make that work? And then what are the things that we are grateful we did? And then what things do we wish maybe we would have? Now looking back, I think we want people to learn from maybe some, I'm not going to call them mistakes, but things maybe we didn't know at the time that we've since learned. Mm-hmm. Pitfalls that maybe other people can avoid, that we can help. So in the beginning, what did we do?
I think we spent a lot of time. It goes back to process, I think. And we found areas of our business where we didn't have a clear process, or we couldn't track information. Mm. And so I think we just started with, what information did we want to know? And then how could we get that?
Yeah. I think we found out pretty early on that, I mean, we live in a crazy age right now where you can literally learn anything you want to learn online.
Right. Anything.
Like there's really no excuse for not.
But I even think about, sure, where we are today, but back when we started, you said a few years, it's like 7, 5, I don't know, whatever, however long ago. I feel like it wasn't as, it definitely was,
there
but it wasn't as evolved.
Right? Like there wasn't TikTok, there wasn't,
oh my gosh, there wasn't
influencers, right? There wasn't all of that stuff, but you still could learn. I would say there were a lot of classes that we could take.
Yeah. Do you remember what was like called master class or something? There would be like, I don't know, different, you could like learn to be a chef in a masterclass series with like a Guy Fieri. What's that? How do you say his name? Fieri.
The chef guy. Yeah. Sorry, chef guy. I think we got a lot of inspiration from other, I don't even think, I guess they're influencers, but other people who we aspired to be like, or that could teach us processes that would hopefully make our lives easier. And I think that kind of learning from their processes helped us build that confidence in ourselves that, okay, we know somebody else has proven that this process worked. So we can take it, we can change it and apply it to our business. And it should work because they have already proven that it worked for them, right?
Right, for sure.
So who are a few of the industry leaders that you like were inspired by or that you kind of followed?
Well, I mean, I think hands down. I think when we think about this aspect and like creating Jessica Zimmerman all day, like for creating process, I think she was the first.
Because we started with weddings.
Yeah, that was like our baby.
She was a wedding event designer specifically.
That taught a class and provided tools and resources.
Exactly. So we spent the money. I don't remember how much it was back then. $2,000. Okay.
And for us, $2,000 is like, that's a lot of money. That's like spending probably like 40 today.
It was a lot of money back then, but it was like basically templates that really walked you through exactly what to do from the time, actually even before, how to get your clients to even find you, make the appointment with you, and then what do you do once that client contacts you? Yeah. And it was and we still follow the process. I mean, have we really tweaked it much at all?
Not much. And I think the one thing that we've learned from it, when we stray from the process, we don't do well. And so I think it reminds us that we've got to stick to it. I know we're going to talk about it later, but I mean, truly, we have not, sure, we've evolved a tiny bit, made some changes here or there, but for the most part, what we did back in 2019 when we started the process, we do now. I remember the first meeting that we had. Gosh, was that 2020? Must have been 2020. The first meeting that we like actually had a team member attend, and it was like rolling out. Like, hey, we've been doing this behind closed doors for about 6 months. Hey, here we go.
Well, okay, so let's expand a little bit more into actually our wedding process and what makes our process different. I know it's not on the outline. I'm just winging it here. Oh,
and that's I think it's stop winging it. You need to save that for another day.
Yeah, but I want to talk a little bit though about how, because we followed the process, it gives you automatic confidence in yourself, and you can't waver from that process. Because we had experiences when, in the very beginning, you want to make all the clients happy and you don't want to risk losing a client or thinking that they may go another way. Mm-hmm. And we would bend our process, and it never ended well, ever. We would always get taken advantage of. We would not stay in the budget we wanted to. We would not make as much money as we wanted to do, because we would just, in the beginning, you just curtail to what people want from you because you think you have to, because you want to just get the business. You're like, well, any client is better than no client, so I'll do whatever they want.
Yeah.
And we found that more times than not, that ended up burning us in the end.
Mhm.
So whatever that process is that you're gonna, so find somebody who's done the work ahead of you and has proven a process,
Who's an expert
who is an expert,
in that
has
field.
made the money, right? Who has
A proven track record. They need to have a proven track
Yeah.
record of it.
a proven track record. And then consistency, consistency, consistency.
Don't waver.
And do not waver from whatever the process is that you decide to go with. Not to say you can't tweak or edit, but it's got to make sense
Right.
and you got to stick with it.
Who's somebody else that you feel like
I don't know. We refer to Jenna Kutcher a lot,
constantly,
and we've been long time listeners. What do you call that?
long time.
A long time. She's just been amazing. I mean, I don't know if you don't follow her, you should.
Mhm.
But she, her claim to fame is like she just took a camera for like $200, and then now she has a multi-million-dollar business. But now she's really switched gears a little bit more into leadership, and she's taught us a lot about Pinterest, email subscribers, and email lists, and
I just listened to a new one actually just the other day about time. She had a guest on where she was talking about time, and I think I just said it in the last episode. I talked about how time is the most precious thing that you have. And that episode, like I was like literally the day after, and I was like, oh, and it like prompted me to follow that lady, and I was like, okay, like I'm in.
There's so many people to learn with, and it's almost overwhelming because
Right.
there are so many people to listen and learn from, but you have to find who really speaks to you and is like your vibe and like really.
But you also have to stay a learner. Like I think, I feel like sometimes when we trip up, it's because we're too comfortable and we think that we know what we're doing. We know what we're doing, but at the same point, we don't know what we're doing.
There's always somebody else to learn from.
Right.
Well,
and you have to stay in learner mode because the second that you let any air of confidence think that I'm better than that, or I can do this. I don't need you.
I don't need help anymore.
I don't need help.
Mm-mm.
Okay.
No.
For instance, going down.
So I probably turned on to Gary Vee later than most people, but he's kind of like a polarizing person, but he speaks their language and like he's super direct but also super inspirational. So but find somebody who speaks in a way that's inspiring to you. He may not be for everyone.
The other person too that I feel like, those it used to be like a thing. It was like WWJD, like what would Jesus do?
Oh,
Yeah.
We use this one all the time.
People make fun of me. I need like WWDD. What would Dave do? And Dave Ramsey is like my guiding light. What he says goes.
It really is. He's been our guiding light for our business since the beginning.
Very beginning.
You went to his, what was the thing you went to called?
Master Series.
Master Series.
Back in 22.
In Nashville. And that was pretty life-changing. You brought, again, that's another whole episode, but you brought back a lot of nuggets that we implemented into our team.
And the funny thing is I think I don't even think we're through day one yet. Like because it's about slow implementation, because you could throw all these things out there, but if you do nothing with it, then you're just wasting time. So we introduced one thing, we've talked about it, we've worked on it, we've made it stick and become a thing that we do. Okay, next layer, right? Because if all of a sudden like we came back from Nashville and it was like, all right, 180, and you threw a bunch of crap at the wall, you might be lucky if one sticks. And I think that's the thing that's been different for us, particularly after Master Series. I think that's what it was called.
Especially, that's the main foundation of your business is your finances. And if your finances are in shambles, are not organized, or if you don't know what you're doing, you're not likely to succeed. It's pretty cutthroat out there right now for small businesses.
It's awful.
It's just a really hard atmosphere right now and climate for small business in particular. So I feel like not having that foundation would be really detrimental for us. So we have been debt-free for the last 2 years.
Not debt-free right now, but yeah.
Well,
we went into an expansion, so we're still cleaning up from that. But
exactly. But
we intentionally went into debt for a particular reason. So, and then we had to take on some debt to close that location. But if we didn't do it, we wouldn't have survived. So we needed to do it. But we typically close out each year debt-free, the exception of 22 and 23, but we'll be done by the end of this year again. We'll end this year debt free, no problem.
Yeah, we did have to expand, but we expanded without taking out a loan.
Yep.
Without taking on any extra debt initially. You know what I mean? We were able to open a second location without any help, which
and even still, I mean, the way that our business operates is it's very seasonally driven. So Q1 and Q3, you spend the most of your money, and Q2, oh my gosh, Q2 and Q4, you make back the most of your money, and that's all been straight cash flow that we've been able to manage through our own revenue streams, which is great.
It's really pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Not many other small businesses are able to do that. So
I thought about this morning after, our little incident this morning, and I almost, you see sometimes when people go on social media and then you're like, thank you for saying what's on my mind, like heart you, like everything you're saying. And I'm going to use this opportunity to share because I feel like you mentioned it's not good for small businesses right now. And I watched Super Bowl commercials last night, and, small businesses don't have the luxury to do any sort of advertising, and any bit of advertising that they do is taking away from investment that they're putting back into their business. And sure, you could get a return, but there is no guarantee that whatever money you're investing, you're going to get a return on. Right. I understand corporations are the same way, but there's boards, there's investors, there's so many other things.
They have a little bit more cushion typically.
I will say though, this year, last year you saw the hill and you were falling down it. This year it is record speed of down. And I don't know what the uncertainty is. But I will say, and I don't care, you probably get mad at me, and I don't really care. Yeah. This is worse than the pandemic, and everybody tried to rally around small businesses in the pandemic. Yeah. This is worse tenfolds. This is worse than 2008. I've worked in retail.
It really is, because pandemic, everybody had extra money in their pockets.
Yeah, and when people rally around small business, they show up, right? But when you're in the everyday, it's just not a thing. But it's also been in retail for a really long time. This is worse than 2008, and that was like a historical crash. But for some reason, it is not talked about right now, and it's like the elephant in the room, and it's like, call a spade a spade. It's terrible right now, and there's not terrible resources.
We've seen a number of small businesses in our community close very recently in the last few months, and it's really
from rent hikes to just profit margin to just,
and we get it. Everybody, everybody's got to make money, and we get why rent is high, and we get all of that, but I don't know, it's just really tough. So we're here to think differently, to pivot, not to make excuses. It is what it is.
Right.
And it's the reality. So we're not just going to sit here and complain about it. We're going to figure out, navigate it, how to turn it around.
Well, what was really cool too, last night, we had a couple friends over, and one of them, they went to Hawaii this summer. Mm-hmm. And obviously all the fires happened in the summertime. And they actually did all of their Christmas shopping through small businesses from those islands. And I was like, everything? They're like, everything. And what's funny, they actually they sent us Maui pineapples for Christmas. First of all, we don't usually give each other Christmas gifts. It's not a regular thing. But they did. Like they ordered from a local small business on the island to support local. And that's how they went Christmas shopping. And I was like, that's really inspiring. I was like, I feel like, even though, of course, like the fires drove a particular reason of like a way to give back to the community, but I was like, I love that. Mm-hmm. I was like, that's really cool. You just, you could pick up new place every holiday and say, I'm going to buy from all local business. There's a place that's important to you. I was like,
I don't think people realize that it actually makes a difference.
It makes so much difference.
I think we're all in a convenience world, and we just want to do what's convenient and fast and easy. And it's really hard to not take that route, because we live such busy lives. I mean, I find myself I want to take the easy way and do the easy return policy and the easy, I get it, but it's also other families' lives too. So
it's hard. Anyways, let's get back.
I know we kind of like.
I don't know. I just had to say I had to talk about it because it's a thing. It's real. And I think the reason why it came to my mind is what I feel like we're doing right now in our business is we're going back to these days and how we thought, how we problem solved, troubleshoot, whatever you want to call it, and worked through and thought differently.
Yeah. And I think we've said from the very beginning that we want this show to be authentic and real. And we're not just going to sugarcoat all the things that we did that made us successful. I mean, we're still struggling in the moment. Like it's real. And I think we want to be really authentic and honest about that. And we're here to field any questions because we're navigating it the same as everybody else. And we'll have some other small business guests on here too. And we'll see how they're navigating it. But we're here just to show and share things that have helped us.
Right.
And but we're not afraid to talk about it, and we're not here to sugarcoat that everything's fine.
Sunshine and butterflies.
It's all fine. It's all gonna be fine.
Well, I mean, that's what you
It
say.
is. It's gonna be fine. And I do have a very positive outlook, but we gotta live in reality. So let's talk about some platforms. When we were very first starting, what were your must have platforms? We know money is tight. You don't have a lot of extra money to be signing up for all of these platforms and services. So if you're on a very strict budget, what are your must have platforms that could not live without and are worth every penny?
I feel like this was also a question that we answered. Yours was Canva, which Canva Pro is only $14.99 a month. So $120 in a year if you prepay, which is nice. It's $119.40 to be exact. Okay. It's worth it.
Yeah,
just saying. And then Google Sheets is free. So those for sure. I think if you're just starting, those are two of the easiest things to get going. Then I think
I also love a lot of people don't have the liberty of hiring like a professional photographer if you're taking or you may not be a skilled photographer, but if you're in any sort of a visual business, you need your photos sell, and you may not have the liberty to hire somebody. Lightroom Pro now, I love Lightroom. It's a great editing tool, super easy and user friendly. But Lightroom Pro now, you can edit videos as well, which is really cool. They just started doing that, and you can edit your whole photo shoot all at once. Anyway.
That's only $10.61 a month,
right? $10 a month. I'm just saying, I also think it's worth it if you're not photo savvy, and $10 a month is way cheaper than hiring a professional photographer. I think it's well worth it to make your photos look professional. Okay, so right now we've spent $130 a month. Okay. That's it. And you've got 3 apps right there or platforms. But I think you're definitely going to need QuickBooks. You cut me off. That's sorry. I know. I mean, you're the finance girl, so you can speak more to it, but you can't live without it. No, you can't. And the best thing about QuickBooks is, one, it always has a promotion. So if you haven't started with it, you can start with it. There's some other ones out there, FreshBooks. Let's go with the tried and true QuickBooks. I think it's it has the most versatility, and it's like, I don't know, my lifeline. So I would definitely go with QuickBooks, and then you can do monthly. You could also do pay for the year, which you save a good amount of money on that, but that's an upfront investment. But what we do now is we still pay it monthly, but we pay it into like a little account. So then it doesn't hit us. It's not an expense that we handle at the year end or whenever it renews. We're just paying at that cheaper price. So always lean into those annual, if you can pay annually, because you're going to save money. But QuickBooks for sure is a no-brainer. And the other part about this, if you're just starting out, if you're not like a brick and mortar, you can pay people, you can send invoices, you can do payroll if you've hired people, you can 1099 set contractors if you need to. Yeah, it's a must. It has a must have, all of the things. And then you can do your reports, you can add your accountant on, they can have their own accounts. For sure. Must have. And so that's usually about $50 a month. So now we're at $180. Okay. It's really not bad. How much do you pay for MailChimp? Because I do think creating your email list and connecting with your clients is really, really important. I mean, look at that as part of your advertising budget, even if you were to absolutely put that in the marketing department, but that's super important. So say what MailChimp is and how much it is.
So yeah, MailChimp is an email platform. I mean, you also can text through it now. That's new, which is really amazing. But that one is based on subscribers. So I think from 0 to a certain amount of subscribers, it actually might be free. So to kick off doing this and to build your base, I think it is free. If not, I'm sure there's some sort of promo code. If we have one, we can put it up. But MailChimp, comparable to Flowdesk, they're both pretty good. We are just using MailChimp because it integrates with all of our systems. So that's easy. Flowdesk does not. So you have to check if you have different pieces of equipment to make sure that they all talk together, because otherwise you're just making more work for yourself. So that's why we use MailChimp. But we pay, we just went up for about $75 a month right now. There's no way to pay annually on MailChimp though, because it's all subscriber based. And so consistency, it's hard. So I just over budget and then we save.
Yeah, we can talk a little bit more in a later episode about how you build your email base, but it's a great way to connect that personal touch with your clients.
And we now actually use MailChimp to also communicate internally. So we have two different audiences. We have our client base so that we can reach out to anybody that's signed up, but we also use it to communicate internally through a Gmail with all of our team.
And you can sort by groups of people.
Yeah. So
I mean, it's that's definitely worth it.
It's a full-time job itself.
Yeah. Talk a little bit about, and I say you because you did all this. When you're first starting out, right? You've got all your basics down. I would say probably the number one thing people want to do is create their website. How do you know when there's so many different platforms? There's Wix, there's GoDaddy, there's all of these different super easy to do websites. When would you recommend using one of those platforms versus ours is a WordPress platform? How did you know that we needed a WordPress platform?
Yeah, so we started off with like a Weebly. I think it was a Weebly.
I think we had Weebly. Yeah. I don't even know if that's a thing anymore, but
we had a Weebly site. So I think a Wix and a Weebly is very much like front end editing, where you're swapping picture for picture, and you can definitely make some theme changes to it. But I think it's a great place to start for you to learn.
You can probably build your own. You don't need to hire anybody else to do
it. But then also you learn aesthetically, like, what do I want my website to look like? How do I want my website to function? How is it actually used by my clients? What do I like about it? What do I not like about it? And it's pre-made, so you can kind of cut it as you want to. So I think it's great to start. We moved over to WordPress when we launched e-commerce.
Yeah.
And the reason for that is because we're not a Shopify store. We were our inventory platform dictated in a way where we needed to go. And so again, going back to making sure all your equipment talks, that's how we ended up with WordPress, which is more back end.
Coding,
all sorts of things.
Learning a new language.
I've learned, our website guy's great. And I've learned, a caret here and exclamation point, some words, X equals some more words and exclamation point, hashtag.
You do pretty good.
It's awesome.
You do pretty good.
But now there's so many different things. We used to have this plugin, what do I call it? Maybe an app, I don't know. That basically it was called Divi Builder. And now we use Elementor Pro. Elementor Pro, hands down, is amazing and it's cheap. It's $40 for the year, $49. And it basically makes your website a Wix in a sense. So you can drag and drop and you can do all of that stuff and customize it as you want to. It's not necessarily pre-made with the themes, but it makes the editing so much easier without the coding. But when you start to get a more advanced website, that's where the coding comes into play. Like our website right now would be like half coded from John, and then the other half would be Elementor. So, but.
And how did you find somebody to help you with the website? How did you find John?
Magical unicorn that showed up. Oh my gosh, is it Fiverr or it was like work? Oh gosh, Workable? No, that's a company we worked with.
That's WeWork.
No, it was Workable. I think. I forget, but it was a website where it's kind of like Fiverr, where people contract, like people that are specialists
Yeah.
in their profession. And then you put out your project and then people like bid on it or interview for it or whatever. And we've been working with John since 2020. Yeah. So John's been with us for a while. And now he just works with us on projects and he manages our website.
Yeah.
I mean, I do a lot too, but he manages our website. And then he also, like, I'll be like, I saw this and I really want to do this absurd thing. And he figures out how to make it happen.
Those are the people that you want to hire. When you say, I have this idea, and they're like, oh, I'll make that happen.
But he's been great. Great.
Okay, so we just listed like a ton of things. We listed Canva, QuickBooks, Google Sheets, MailChimp, Lightroom. We use Later for pre-scheduling your social posts and things like that.
Yeah, absolute time saver.
And Shopventory. We have a brick and mortar with inventory, so Shopventory is what we need to talk to all of our different things.
Yeah, it's now called Thrive. Rebranded.
Sorry.
Yes, Thrive. But I think we want to talk about this for a minute.
Okay.
Yeah. And so when we came over here,
Mhm.
we went from, I don't know, a closet to a mansion from like for inventory, right? It felt like we went from having nothing to like bursting at the seams.
We had a lot of inventory.
Yeah. And how do you keep track of it? How do you know?
I think
money?
this really comes back to the part of not weighing it, because I do think a lot of small businesses don't have a handle on their inventory, how their money is coming in and going out, what their profit margins are, what their revenue is, like where they're spending their money. Like they don't have a handle on that. And it's really, really overwhelming. It definitely was overwhelming for us.
It's emotional.
In the start.
It's all an emotional thought.
But like if you don't have this foundational piece and you don't know what's going in and out and control your damages and process your claims, and there's so much to it that it's like throwing money out the window.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And we spent a lot of time researching. There's a lot of different companies out there. I remember I was like interviewing companies because I was like, and we knew where we wanted the business to go. Mm-hmm. So we didn't think about where we were today. We thought about like, how do you manage multiple locations? What do you look like on e-commerce? And so how do you feed multiple systems? And so for us, I hear horror stories, oh, I just sold that online. Oh, get it off the floor. Quick. Like, oh, I gotta tell them that there's an online order. It sounds painful and miserable. The systems don't talk. And so you're just hoping that you never sell out in store, but it's still available online, right? Like you hope that doesn't happen. And so our platform is a platform that we enter one time, not twice, not three times. We enter it one time and it feeds. Like before, when we had the other location, it fed both locations plus e-commerce. So we have the ability to go to 5 locations and with our plan. And then that's one inventory. You touch it one time and it shows up in all the places. And when you sell, it's deducted. So you can't sell it.
And you may not think that that's that big of a deal, but then you think about, okay, you're paying somebody in payroll. Like how much more efficient and time saving and money saving is it to do it this way, doing it one time?
Yeah. Like you could be like, oh, I feel like, I feel like our denim sales are through the roof. We're selling so many pairs of jeans. Well, do you feel that, or is that true? Let's go look at our denim sales and see.
My friend always says to me, do you think, or do you know?
Yeah. Right. Like you got to check. And then that's where we can really check and be like, oh my gosh, look at this. We really did. We sold, 30 pairs of jeans last Friday. That's not true, but I'm just saying, like you would know. And then you'd be like, oh, okay. Like if we do need a replenishment, it helps make life so much easier. So I wouldn't even shop around for anywhere else for inventory. Honestly, I would just go to Thrive.
It's convenient, but it also is financially fiscal and responsible.
Absolutely.
And I'm sure we can get more into that lady. And then a couple
lady
later, lady.
So talk about too, one of the things that we struggled with when we were first getting started is we were both running in multiple directions. Maybe saw each other, maybe didn't. A handwritten note, a text message can be misconstrued. What was like our lifeline of communication?
We're big Voxer girls. Is that what you're talking about?
Yes.
Big fan of the old Voxer.
Yes.
It's been around for a little while, but it's like a little walkie-talkie app. But
And it's free.
it's free. We used it before we even had a team. But yeah, texting, one, can't text and drive. And we have kids. We're always driving. So forget that. I could never talk to anybody if I couldn't text. So yeah, you just hit the button and you have a voice behind whatever it is that you're saying. So there's actual, not just what you assume their emotion is about it.
Right.
We're also a team of women and things get totally misconstrued over text. And it's nonsense.
And you can do like a single box. You could do a group box. Like you could, you could send pictures.
So certain people who might be on like just a project and it only pertains to 3 people who are working on a certain project or an event. It just goes out to them. If there's a wedding team going out, just they have their own group message, whoever's on the team in the project. So we love Voxer. We use it all the time. And it's a nice way to hear each other's voices too.
Right.
When we're like passing each other.
Right. I feel like this whole episode, we talked about all of the people that have helped us and now all of the like platforms that we use. So we should probably compile this whole list with all links and all of that stuff in the show notes. We'll make sure it's all there.
I know.
Because there's a lot. And any coupons or discounts, we can pass them along too.
Yeah.
For sure.
And back to not winging it. So I'm trying to like bring it back to the topic. In the beginning, though, you could hire all these things, but you have to learn how to do it yourself first. We kind of struggled with this a little bit because, and we learned this from trial and error. We tried, I think, to hire people to do things for us that we thought would make our lives easier before we knew how to do it ourselves. And I don't want to say wasted money, but if you don't know how to do it yourself first, you may not know what your expected outcomes should be.
Right.
Or your what's a proper amount of time that something should take somebody.
Yeah.
I don't know. Let's just say you hired somebody to write an email or something for you. And you couldn't figure it out. You're like, I don't have time to figure it out. I don't want to know. You just do it for me. And it takes them, I don't know, 96 hours. 96 hours to create one email. You might think
that's what it takes.
This email is amazing. It like looks great. You've got all these links and photos and like, this is amazing. I love it. Great. Go send it, put it on MailChimp, send it out to the people, to all the people, and not really realizing that one email just cost you $425. You know what I mean? Like if you're not really thinking, okay, how much time should that have taken when in reality, you now do emails in about 36 minutes or whatever. So that would cost, if you had somebody help you do that, it should cost not $400.
Right. Just for simple.
You know what I mean?
Say $10.
Whatever it is. If you don't know, I'm not saying you need to learn how to do everything. You don't need to be your own accountant. You don't need to be your own lawyer. You don't need to learn how to be your own. But for some things, you need to know what a measurable expectation is before you put that on somebody else. You need to say, okay, I'm going to source this out, but here is my expectation on how long I'd like it to take you. And this is how much I'd like to pay you for it. And these are my expected outcomes so that you have a measurable on.
Yeah. You might not share all those things with the person.
No, I'm not saying this is what I expect.
Well,
this is what I need
I'm gonna pay you. No.
This is what I need to have it by.
Yeah, you need to know what this work actually looks like because the people could just take advantage of you. And you're gonna think that, well, yeah, emails are really difficult.
No, and they may not also know what they're doing. They might be very good at faking it until they make it and not actually know what a clear expectation is either.
Yeah. Do you remember? I don't know, like there was this tasks that we used to have one of our team members do, and they would tell us it would take 10 to 12 hours. Then we learned how to do it. And it's like, or 3 max. Yeah. It shouldn't take you all day, but that's okay. But I think learning just your basic function of how it works.
And in the very, very beginning, I think it's important for owners to be a little bit more hands-on in that because you're really developing your brand standards and guidelines and visuals And sometimes if you don't have a really firm foundation on what you want that to be and how you want to show up, you can't expect somebody else to create something for you that 1,000% aligns. So just like we talked about in the previous episode, like your brand, your toolbox, your colors, your fonts, once you have all of that truly solidified and your mission and your values and your philosophy and everything's aligning to what you've already put together, then I think it's okay to have somebody say, okay, as long as whatever you're creating for me aligns with all of those things,
right,
it should be good.
Right. Agree 100%.
But sometimes in the very beginning, it could be a little trial and error. Like, how do I want to show up? How do I want to sound? What do I want my voice to be? What do I want my vibe to be? Do I like that? It might be a little trial and error and collaborative with, but the point is you need to be a little bit more hands in the very beginning, because if you hire it all out, somebody might be putting you out there in a way
that you don't want to be out there,
that you may not love. You may be like, "Oh, that doesn't sound like me. That doesn't really look like what I want to be." Right. So just be careful. I say that just my little, I don't want to say not to hire it out, but just maybe be a little bit more hands-on with it in the beginning to make sure it's really what you want to be putting out there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. There's a lot we just talked about.
I know.
We got to plug.
I think we're like halfway.
We're halfway through our outline, and the thing is that I think the next portion that we're going to talk about is really our next episode. So it's now that we've talked, we're listening to the experts, and now here's our platforms and how we use them. What do we do with all this information? So that's going to be what we talk about next.
Yeah. Do you have time for a couple of questions?
Oh, always. Love it.
Love the questions.
Okay.
I know you'll definitely take the first one. Which this is the tricky one, because I think this is kind of the social norm. The question is, should I take out a loan to start my business? I feel like most people think that's probably perfectly fine. I need to spend money to make money. I've got to put in money to start this. I've saved up. I have $5,000 to start a business. Do I need to take out a loan? Because, my mortgages are my rent is going to be $5,000, and really like to hire some of these things out that you just were talking about. So I feel like in order to float this, I'm going to need to probably take out a loan. Is that a good idea?
Short answer, no. But there's also a time for it.
But I was like, how do I know? What would you say the circumstances are in which you should take out a loan or need to?
So your gut reaction can't be, or, hey, I want to start this business, and my first step one is I'm going to go take out a loan. You can't just wake up one day and say, I'm going to start this, home delivery food service, and I'm going to go take out a loan for $100,000 with no plan. There has to be an understanding of what is the business that you're wanting to create. What's your 3-year business plan? What's your projected revenue? What are your revenue streams? What is it going to cost you to run the business?
How do I know any of that?
You got to spend some time to do some research.
How do I know what my projected revenue is going to be? I've never done this before. I have no idea.
You got to start somewhere, right? And that's go to the experts, go dig in, read, learn from other people that have been in the same situation, and say, you know what? I want to open a business. I'm going to set a goal that my business is going to be open within the next, making it up, 90 days. Then put your action plan together working backwards. So if 90 days, I want my LLC filed and I want to have my doors open. What do I need to do from here to there to make that happen? And then start working through that and understanding. And a lot of this is research. And, there are people that work in research and development for companies, even after they've been around for 15 years, to continue to learn about how the business operates. What's the competitive analysis look like? How do they continue to move forward, et cetera? So I think the short answer to that question is no, because you can't just take out and get money lended to you without a plan for the money. And much like a budget, you got to tell your money what you need it to do for you. And if you're going to do that with the borrowed money, then you for sure, just as important as a plan is on, hey, here's this money I have, here's what it's going to do for me, but here's my plan to make that back, and here's how I'm going to pay that back within a certain amount of timeline. And also do the work on what is the interest that you're paying? Is it worth
Mhm.
it? Right. So I just think about, it just, you have to weigh the options. And if that loan is going to help you from get to A to B, then okay, what is your payoff time once you get to B? Because your next answer can't be, well, I'm going to take out another loan to go from B to C. You got to pay back what got you from A to B. So there's a lot of variables here, and my just comfortable answer is the answer is no.
Is there like a certain amount of money that you feel like you should have like saved up before you go into business?
It's very similar. It's very similar to how I would run personal finances. You need $1,000 of an emergency fund,
Mhm.
3 to 6 months of operational expenses saved up,
Right.
and then maybe look at where you're at, and then it depends.
Mhm.
It depends on how much something costs.
Have a plan.
That's step one. Like, you cannot walk into a bank. I mean, you can't walk into a bank and be like, I'm going to start a business. I'd love to have some money. Can I have some? Thanks. But also the plan with how you're going to spend it is important, but the plan to pay back that money is more important.
Right. Okay. We might dig into that a little bit deeper.
I could talk for days about
I
it.
think you really could. Well, you're also super knowledgeable about it, and I think we have a lot to learn. And
be careful of loan shark gang.
I think I'm not going to say for all small business owners, but it's a topic that a lot of people just aren't educated on, and it's very scary. And how do you take, like, I'd love a whole episode on how do you know when to jump? How do you know when it's okay to take money on? How do you figure out what your goals are going to be? I mean, there's just so much getting into it. I mean, I think all small business owners, I'm going to say all, are risk takers.
Oh yeah, for sure.
You have to be. It's just sort of in your nature. Like, you're go-getters. You're going to take the risk. You're going to be gritty. You're going to figure it out. That's the nature of an entrepreneur at all. I think we all have that kind of in us, that we're willing to like see what happens.
Yeah, definitely.
So fun. Okay, so
wait, you got a question now. I'm going to throw this one at you.
Gosh, really? I hope it's fun, because that one was very serious.
I know. Ready?
Can you give me a fun one?
Okay. I wish we should, next time we need to have like the list up of the questions that have been submitted, because this one's going to come from me.
Okay.
Should I be worried? I don't know. So if you weren't doing this for a job right now, and you can't go back to nursing, what are you doing for a job?
Are my kids all just the same age?
Life's the same.
Life's the same. But I only have to make as much money as I make now.
The only thing is, you can't go back to nursing. You can't go back. Like, that door is closed. Your license expired, and the hospitals are closed.
Yeah, it's funny. Church on Sunday was all about finances, which was amazing. But it's funny because I was kind of thinking back, like, that security is like was such like a financial blanket in a way. And I'm like, if I was smart, I would keep up with my license, and I would do simple things like give immunizations or something. Like, I don't know. It's like such an easy way to make like really good money. And I'm like, my heart has zero desire to do anything medical ever again. That ship has sailed. And I know that like doesn't make financial sense, because it's like very lucrative.
Okay.
So I'm okay with not going back. All that to say. What would I do to make money? I think a nice fun job would maybe be being like a gate agent or something, at TF Green. I could just go, maybe work like a couple nights, get in my part-time hours, and then me and my entire family would fly for free.
I actually could see you doing that.
Right?
Yeah.
If my daughter goes far away to college, I might still be working that night job. I may still have to be a gate agent
At night.
at night
Makes sense.
if she's gonna go far away. Yeah, I don't know. It's a great way to still be able to travel.
Yeah, for sure.
And I don't think it seems that hard. No offense to any gay agents out there, but it doesn't seem too hard.
Mhm.
People don't bother me. Like, I don't know. I don't get ruffled by things or stressful situations. I don't know. I think it'd be
You'd
fun.
fine. You'd be good. Good. Good
Yeah,
answer.
I think that's what I do.
Perfect.
And I still get to travel, even
Check
though
off
I
the
don't
boxes.
even though I don't really make very much money, but I still get to travel.
For free. You're actually saving money from a travel.
Saving money.
That
Look at
line
that.
item on your budget goes away.
Okay. Glad
There you
I
go.
could answer that quickly.
Yeah, that was pretty quick. Must be part of your 5-year plan.
It might be. That's because I've already thought about maybe having to work there.
I know because your daughter's looking at faraway schools. Okay.
She is. I'm letting her. Yeah, I need to call and make an appointment actually. When we go to Hawaii next week, we're gonna take the tour.
Oh, I'm so excited. So good for her. All right. Awesome. So when we come back together, we're going to talk about now, what do we do? We're learning from our experts. We're signing up for all of our platforms. What is next?
Yeah.
So
How to stay motivated. Oh my gosh, there's a lot of things.
all right.
Till next time.
Till next time.
Bye.